Well, someone finally asked for one and now it's delivered. I tell you to comment if you want a video. I was honestly expecting to do this towards the end of the interactive run. The finale will be their magnum opus, Bandersnatch. If you look and see my shorts, I did have to go and record this kind of fast because they only gave you the weekend. I mean, yeah, most of the other interactives were taken out at the beginning of December last year, but they kept what I thought that they would keep because it would be incredibly dumb to let these titles go.
I could be completely wrong and they just decide that they're gonna bring back that long-lost sister of hers from that one random episode in Season 2.
Well, May comes around and now the last of the interactives were taken off. I honestly thought these titles were safe. The others you could toss because half of them were cartoons, and who cares about cartoons, right? Whoever heard of a cartoon making money? It's not like they make money, or are popular, or have catchy songs. But the ones who survived the December purge, I thought maybe had contracts that protected them, or maybe brand or name recognition. You had the brand name of Black Mirror, and hell, you even had a Black Mirror game come out based on the very Bandersnatch episode. For Kimmy Schmidt, they had star power. Ellie Kemper, Jane Krakowski, John Hamm, Carol Kane, Jack McBrayer, Fred Armisen, Titus Burgess, Josh Groban, and even the Hobbit himself, Elijah Wood. All these stars I thought would have been enough to keep this episode on Netflix, but as easy as it was to get a Netflix deal, so too was to cancel it just as fast. All the interactives are gone and there are ways in order to see it, it just requires some extra steps. But let's jump into what made the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt one of Netflix's top shows and interactives. So the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is the story of a girl who was kidnapped by Reverend and spent 15 years hiding out in a bunker thinking a nuclear apocalypse happened. The series follows Kimmy after escaping the bunker and how she interacts with the world after being absent from it for so long. This show does take a more comedic approach to certain topics, only because we do have a real life version of this, and there are a few things that happened if you were stuck for 15 years in a hole. I would say they are making light of a serious situation, but they do at least lean into it with their alternate version, even make it their own songified version of it. Yeah, remember when that was peak YouTube? I miss those days. So, at least if you go dark humor, you dive into it instead of just dipping your toes into it. But anyway, the original 4-season run is perfect for any television show. Not too short, not too long, it doesn't drag on and on and on, or leaves on a cliffhanger. Most of the time. We all remember this blue ball moment, because Tina Fey is producing this. I mean, between 30 Rock alumni popping up, and having that weird creative dialogue that you hear, Kimmy Schmidt is one of the better Netflix shows that have survived the trial of time, unlike others. But where does that leave the interactive? Well, the interactive takes place a few years later, and does answer a few questions. I haven't seen the show, only got through 6 episodes, but nice to know it's after the show and not in between, like the Jurassic Park Camp Cretaceous one. Never seen the shows, but don't really like it if they do a special but it goes back in time in the show, somewhere in between. Kind of messes up the timeline a little bit. After this point, but before this point, it gets confusing, especially when binging. It's why prequels don't work. Some exceptions. Anyway, the interactive starts at the bridal shop, and Kimmy is picking up her dress for her wedding to Prince Frederick, with friends in tow, Titus, Lillian, and Jacqueline. And, as is tradition, first choice is a nothing choice, but does decide how the ending will look. And we kind of see where everyone is. Jacqueline is working on to advance Titus's career as his agent, Lillian is doing her own thing, and Titus is fat and lazy. And then another choice, or lie, sending Titus to nap or to go to the gym. Another nothing choice. Oh, I'm not complaining. Anything to get me more Titus is welcomed. And you either get him trying to exercise, trying to sleep, or trying to be gay. I do like the inverse of the gay dream that they used to do in the 90s. I think this is where they start to show the show's lore. Yeah, you had the marriage and friends before, but explain this thing to me.
What is that? What is that?
So this is apparently Jay in the backpack. Don't know if it's a sister to this backpack.
Backpack, 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 backpack.
But hey, you have a sentient backpack. It's not that deep, fam. And if you need some jokes, you can't get some dark humor out of her.
That hurts. Now it tickles again.
I do question why she doesn't really have anything in there though. Even the backpack had a map. Anyway, she does kind of have a map, but we will discuss that later. So another choice after Kimmy arrives back at the house to meet Elijah Wood for wedding planning. They talk about weddings, books, Kim Jong-il, the usual couple stuff. Anyway, you get two, well, 3 choices now: wedding planning, reading a book, or making out. And of course, I chose the obvious one.
Come to me, Makatita Mohosa Elmo.
Elmo wants Frederick's tongue.
And you do get one of the endings where they get married, but they say to do a do-over. And of course, the 3 same choices pop up. And of course, chose to make out with Elijah Wood again. Ugh. So now I'm forced to either read a book or plan a wedding. Both end up at the next choice. The difference is if you want to hear these two talk about weddings or reading a book. Reading the book will help you get the good ending later on. They do figure out that the book isn't Kimmy's either because it was checked out after she went into the bunker, and it's from a different school. So now we have to call someone for advice or confirmation. Sydney, Gretchen, or Donna Marie. Calling Sydney is more or less the story if you want to just get it over and done with. Gretchen is busy with other things.
See a therapist. This is a trauma you're experiencing, and it's good to talk about it, okay?
It is good to take time for yourself. And you are left with calling Donna or Sydney. And this is where it gets a bit complicated. First, Donna will tell you to go to Sydney, but when you play it through again, you do get more options and scenes. And it gets weird here. Like Josh Groban just popping in and talking like this.
Is it because my speaking voice doesn't sound like my singing voice?
Then you get put on hold. The first 2 options lead to the same thing, one involving recipes, the other diarrhea. The third, however, is truly a testament to what the human body is able to tolerate. We listen to Taco Snake recite the Mexican version of the 12 Days of Christmas, and I do mean the entire song. You even have a choice to either stop the pain or keep going. And me being the masochist I am, I endured. At which you could do the song again, but this time they give you an out with this Easter egg.
Congratulations, here's your reward.
After hanging up, you do call Sydney and... Oh yeah, I never did say what Sydney said. She confirms that it's not her book and maybe the Reverend had a second bunker. Dun dun dun! That leads us to our final choice for this intro, choosing to take Titus for this road trip. I would say Jacqueline, but she's needed elsewhere. Also, apparently, I would kill everybody if I went this way.
We should have picked Titus!
And now we get to the intro of the show, which you can skip. Oh no. This is honestly giving me KH2 war flashbacks. I remember playing it and wondering when I was gonna get to Sora, and after like 5 hours, we finally got to this title screen. So yeah, a new mechanic I didn't really see explored in the other ones, punishing you, the player. Not a bad ending for the characters, but the player gets punished. They do actually play around with the Netflix UI, playing around with the buttons. So that's actually something new I haven't seen before. So we finally get on the plane to visit the Reverend and see what he knows about the book or possible second bunker. Reverend John Hamm was appropriate for this role since he is hamming it up fiercely. He is the lovable asshole everyone loves to see. Anyway, you could get down to the beeswax or be sociable. Getting down to the beeswax will reveal where the girls are, while the other kills John Hamm. Don't ask how he got here.
Guess you'll never know.
Other than sending Kimmy to West Virginia, Jack McBrayer is there to guard, another alum of 30 Rock. Meanwhile, back at the apartment, yeah, we are in a sitcom because this will be our B-plot, following Elijah Wood around leading up to the wedding. Since Kimmy is doing the main plot, no bachelorette party. Or, we could do one with the prince. Smash cut us to the North Korean karaoke bar. Elijah Wood is getting down with the Koreans in the Shire. Lily and Sydney worry that Frederick is only marrying Kimmy for her money and will try to seduce him. The only question is who does the seduction in this honeypot. Either way, it ends up with Elijah running out because he kissed Lily in either scenario. Meanwhile, in the middle of nowhere in West Virginia near Frackwater, Kimmy and Titus debate whether to wait for the Uber or to walk. You can wait, and you get 2 endings here. Either Titus and Kimmy die, and the Uber shows up, or Titus and Kimmy die, and the robot uprising happens, and the end of the world comes, and this is why AI and Clanka should be discriminated against kids. So if you do decide to walk, a C-plot rears its head for Titus. He's supposed to be on a film set right now, and Jacqueline needs to stall for him to get there. Just gotta decide how to stall. You either choose to have a problem with the script or the wardrobe. Each scenario will have you either dealing with a writer or PA. So while stalling, Kimmy and Titus go to a bar for more info and try to speak redneck, country, white trash. Doesn't matter because the only language that these rednecks speak is American. Freebird by Leonard Skinner. Another interesting shakeup. Does he know the song? Or does he only think he knows the song? Or does he think he knows what we know that he doesn't know? Or does he think he knows that we know that he doesn't know?
There are known knowns and that there are known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. Things we don't know that we don't know.
So if he does know it, that other ending with the cops being called, they take their Freebird seriously down here. To go forward, you have to get the right Freebird, but because of YouTube, I can't show it. I'll give you a taste. Absolutely riveting. So they win over the bar patrons, enough to get info of where the girls might be, and that the Reverend escaped the jail somehow. How? You decide! Either way, you have the Reverend sneak out of jail, or kill Kenneth. Jesus, well that went dark. Concurrently, back at plot B, the girls are trying to get the wedding together even after the little thing with Elijah, while also trying to explain 9/11 to Sydney. The groom finally shows up and tries to figure out what to do, if they should continue with the wedding, but then the nanny shows up, who turns out to be Lillian's twin sister. What, it's not cheating. Spirited Away did the same thing and you weebs give that film high praise. Anyway, we get two things from this. We get another choice for Mr. Wood to get more life experience or to become a man, between Lillian or Zaniba. I mean, Yababa or Fiona. You know what I mean. Nailed it! And we also get this naughty little line out of him.
Not a good boy, I'm the opposite. I'm a bad girl.
That's right, you are a bad girl, you filthy little hobbit. And now, back to our contemporary version of The Straight Story by David Lynch, R.I.P. Peabody Falls is about 100 miles from the bar, so they walk. But it's all about the journey, and we come to Festeroo, and this guy's probably on all the drugs. This was mainly an excuse to steal this guy's bike. Fun fact, if you play this part twice, you do get different drugs that he's on. Meanwhile, on the movie set, we get Jacqueline still trying to stall, and you have two different scenarios. If you choose to have a problem with the script, you talk to the guy. If it was wardrobe, you get the girl. If she's talking to the guy, she is having a breakdown, and you choose how she's gonna lose it or go to her happy place. Either way, Jacqueline's in pain. One, you get weird visuals, and the other, you break the man. Anyway, if you play mind games, you break the woman, or pretend Titus is getting violent. Doesn't matter because all choices lead back to Titus being high in the woods. The only other thing you get to decide with the woman is if you want to break her even more by listening to her complain about her bad year, or push her away. After Titus and Kimmy steal the bikes, they pull up to the gas station with our next guest star, Mr. Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny Knoxville, welcome to Jackass!
They figure out the Reverend is nearby, but now have to decide if we stay to make sure the kid doesn't die, or we continue to try to follow the Reverend. I, of course, don't get sidetracked and left the baby there. What? Don't judge me. I got the gun away from the baby. Everything is okay now. Oh, apparently that was the wrong choice. This is why kids are soft nowadays. This would not have happened if you gave that kid an iPad. So I guess the right thing to do would be to babysit the kid. Had to wait a while, but Johnny Knoxville finally came back and now we are back on track. Meanwhile, Lillian is trying to turn Elijah Wood into a man, and every other way but the one. Or, if he goes with his nanny, Elijah Wood finds out what the real world is like through the power of knockoff Mary Poppins.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
So I guess the wedding is back on now, in either scenario. Hooray! Meanwhile, Kimmy and Titus are trying to find the long-lost bunker of West Virginia, and they have to decide if we are going to be going left or right.
Maybe you can help us.
Ooh, plot twist. Actually clever here. You expect a choice to pop up here. Instead, it is more of a culmination of all the choices you made that led here. So if you read the book at least once, then Kimmy remembers the story from the book with the lemon juice, heating it up and then reading the message. They figure out where the girls might be hiding, go right, and find the Reverend. Kimmy engages in the chase while Titus tries to keep up. And now Titus has to decide while trying to catch Kimmy. Follow her or go to the woodland banquet. I would follow her, mostly because where there are woodland banquets, there are woodland critters, and I ain't dealing with that shit. So, following Kimmy, Titus loses her and is being haunted by a banquet table, but this one is real. Confusing stare. Who are you? Turns out that movie set Titus was supposed to be at was in West Virginia, and Titus just happened to stumble onto set. He tries to help afterwards, but he is busy doing whatever this is. Don't worry, it's a grinder. And as for Jacqueline, it's one of two things if she reveals her lie. If she doesn't reveal it, Titus shows up and she is finally able to relax. But if she does reveal that she is lying, then that means other women lie too. Which means we don't have to trust women. And Me Too is over. Woo! Come on, boys, celebrate! Woo! Meanwhile, Kimmy is chasing down the Reverend like a predator hunting down a predator. He's not good sport, and now it's time to choose what to do with him after playing victim and tries to blame Kimmy for everything. Confirming that no one knows that he's there, time to go dark and punish this asshole. This is one that is very simple that gives different results. Even if you select things twice or 3 times, you get different dialogue. But you do get one of 4 endings. Shooting him, Lillian and Frederick get married somehow. Stomping him, Frederick marries Zan. Exploding him, Frederick and Kimmy still get married, but Kimmy is a clone now.
Had her cloned.
Sex now.
In a moment, dear.
And if you do all 3, you do get to see the Reverend in heaven with Mr. Frumpus. But of course, Kimmy has to do the right thing and spare him. And this is the one that does actually allow you to free the girls from Bunker Hell. And now we are finally at the wedding, where you see all the choices that led you here. A lot of these are minimal changes, like little interactions or different dialogue. And all this leads to a win, and then reenacting the Breakfast Club ending. So, this is one of the better ones. It has that absurd humor where you aren't going to be asking, why does this man have a child? Why is Kim Jong-il here? Why is Mr. Frumpus here? This was built with a lot of rewatchability in mind, because some of the scenes change on rewatch slightly, or they have a 4th wall break.
Which way do we go this time? Why did I say this time?
Hell, sometimes they are repairing the 4th wall. The actors can do comedy, not too much of a surprise. Again, this is basically a sequel to 30 Rock. Kinda like Chip and Dale are the sequel to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And you have SNL cast members here from the main cast, to side characters, to being in the death scene. Not sure if they borrowed that from the Arkham series, but I like to think so. They even had Elijah Wood be funny, as opposed to his usual dramatic roles of running around with wizards and ginger folk.
And did we really fly in Daniel Radcliffe for like one scene?
Who?
I don't know, okay? I'm stupid!
So why was this taken off? Netflix is only about money. The real reason they got rid of these interactives is because they wanted to focus more on games. If you go to Netflix and see the games you never play, that's where the money goes for some reason. Also had to re-edit the scripts because now we know where that money went to. It went to go buy Warner Brothers. So now you can finally get that Stranger Things Scooby-Doo crossover finally. The Interactive had a special program embedded within Netflix itself, and unfortunately was messing around with the UI and UX of their other games. They wanted to expand, but they can't run a video program, a game program, and an interactive video program all at the same time. So if you can only pick 2, which are you going to go with? You have thousands of hours of movies and television, and that's where your revenue comes from. You have hundreds of games and kids who may play it, and you have less than 30 interactive shows. Which are you picking? I could see them getting rid of a show or a movie. Not all of them are jams, and you can't keep every show on there. I understand that. But those shows could be picked up somewhere else. But with the interactive shows, those can't be easily replicated. And it's not like they do the Choose Your Own Adventure Blu-ray DVD, at least not anymore. And hell, Stranger Things only got a physical release on their first few seasons. And they're Stranger Things. I guess this is streaming depression. I guess. The fact we don't own movies anymore. Everything is a subscription, or requires login to use an app. Or we don't really own the media we consume, we rent it. And if it doesn't do banger numbers in the first 3 days, it's a failure. This is not just Netflix, it's everywhere. Superman is a quote-unquote failure because it didn't gross $1 billion in a week. The Ghost of Yote didn't sell enough because woman, even though it already surpassed in that other game that came out 2 years ago. I guess in this world where everyone is grifting, farm outrage, and trying to slay something, this one at least had some optimism in it. Another casualty of this removal is that the actors no longer get residuals from it. That is very hard to come by nowadays. For a dumbed down explanation, I'm not looking up how they work, but from my understanding, actors, if they get part of a syndicated show, that was the jackpot. Syndicated shows are shows that make it past 100 episodes, can run in any order, and on multiple networks. I remember reading that the guy who did the 70s show theme song, you know this, he got paid something like $0.10 every time it played. Not much, but then play it 5 times on a channel, and on 40 other channels, possibly international, and it starts to add up. And this is done every day for 10 years. The biggest jackpot was probably the cast of Friends, each main cast member getting paid $20 million per year. Literally, you don't have to do anything, just live for a year, you get $20 million. Rules have kind of changed since streaming came along, especially after Scarlett Johansson sued Disney for putting her movie on streaming. I think her contract probably included a percentage of the box office, and if you go directly to streaming, then no big payday. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is still on Netflix as of now, but still lost that extra revenue. And yeah, it probably wasn't earning as much as it was 5 years ago, or at all, it was just one episode. But like I said in the beginning, this is years after the events of the series, so it doesn't mess with the timeline too much, but that means the technical finale of the show is now lost. And that really sucks. It was a show that had a finale, something other shows rarely get. Now it's a show without an ending. There are so many quotable memeable lines in this that I'm losing track of them while editing this. But now that it was taken off, now just another bit of media lost to the ages. So, obviously I like this, and to give it a rating, I say it's a sub from your hometown that you are visiting. You feel the world is constantly trying to crush whatever happiness you have left. And the only leverage for now is that last sub for the restaurant that you remember from your younger days. Enjoying every savory bite, knowing that when you finish it, it'll be gone forever. But you are still glad you had it. You are still glad you went on this journey with friends. The feeling of nostalgia sets in as you embrace for it as long as you can, no matter what anyone says or does.
What is wrong with you?
Can't have done that. Kimmy vs. the Reverend works as a playful, joyful, interactive finale, especially for fans of the series. Bringing back beloved characters, offering laugh-heavy moments, and letting fans shape a version of Kimmy's happily ever after. If only for one last time. So, yeah, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, that was one of the ones I was looking forward to, and it did not disappoint. I got a few more of these I could do, so leave an answer in the comments of which one you want me to do next. As usual, go left for more Netflix interactive stuff, go to the right for some more anime reviews. I already did Shimineta, that did pretty good. And might do Nikitashi since someone suggested it. Let me just see the first episode. What the fuck? You're all going to horny jail.